our issues usually come from there, either from the past or from the future. But the present is rarely, the very immediate present is rarely a cause of stress. So there are various ways in which we can be mindful, and those three ways, three basic ways, involve either our sight, or sound, or feelings. Or in the case of doodling, two of them. Our feelings, the way we hold the pen, the way we feel the paper, as well as a sight of what we're doing, both of them. So when we combine these things together, then we can have so many different ways of leveraging this concept. So today we're just going to talk about an explanation of how it's working, and how even the most absurdly simple doodle-based exercises can result in a certain degree of stress relief. So that is it. Now, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically ask you to, number one, do not doodle now. I'd like you to follow what I'm saying for a couple of minutes. And while you're following what I'm saying, I just like you to listen to what I'm saying, as well as look at what I'm doing. Now, I today I'm going to be using just 3 pens. I've got these 3 pens over here. Mostly I'll be using these two. So this one, these are called brush pens, and I quite like brush pens, because brush pens are because these can give you all sorts of very thin strokes, and they can give you thick strokes, and they can give you thin and thick and thin and thick, whatever you want. And so this is a soft tip brush pen, and then we've got a hard tip brush pen, which also gives you stroke variations, but less than the soft tip one. So I like to use both of these, because between these two, all my needs are satisfied of whatever kind of strokes I want, mostly. But if for some reason it's not happening, then I also use this 0.05 tip, where I can create strokes like that. So that is all I need, just some paraphernalia to create the strokes. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create some very, very basic figures. So what I want you to do is just observe the pen. As my pen moves across the paper, I just want you to observe that movement of the pen across the paper. And I'm going to make some very basic shapes. So maybe one here, like that. Maybe just a little triangle there. That's it. Now, this is just the basic shape I'm making. Now let's maybe divide it into sections. Makes it easier, because a lot of us, we can't draw those lumby lines. Now, this is not art by any standard. It is just 3 boxes split into pieces. And now I'm just going to use the other pen. Now, once again, if you just watch the pen gliding, just observe the process of filling the lines. I want to make sure this one line is as equidistant from each other. I want to make sure it is as even as possible, and so on. So then I'll go slowly from one end of the box, one end of that area, to the other end, and basically that's what I'm doing. Now, in the process of doing so, what I am actually doing is immersing myself very much in the present. Right now, in the present, that's where I am. Because right now, where am I? I'm actually at the tip. I'm actually at the tip of that pen right now. That's where I am right now. That's where all my focus is. So when I look at the tip right now, I'm just going to draw a line from there to there, come down, and just try to create a bunch of lines. And that is it. So when we just start doing these sort of doodles, just start filling things. We immerse ourselves in the present. And by doing so, we begin to de-stress. Renu, do you want to talk about the neuromotor aspects of this?
While you're drawing, what I would say is, first of all, I would want to what the difference is between drawing and doodling. When doodling, you are not
please सबको mute कर दीजिए ना.
for something which is going to be a complete this thing. You can't hear me?
No, wait a minute. Can we make somebody the co-host so you can mute people for us? Who's happy to be a host? Gauri, you want to be a host?
I'm on phone.
That's all right.
So if it can be done on the phone, I'm happy to
Yes,
help.
it can. Yes, it can. I'm making you co-host. Just go to the list of participants and you can mute people from there. List of participants and you can mute people from there.
Okay.
Now we want to talk about this.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So as I was telling you, I want to tell you people about the difference between drawing and doodling. Right? Is it better now? Yeah. So yes. So when you form a structured figure on the paper, which looks like something, it is basically drawing. And when you are doing something which does not have a goal, is doodling. As far as immersion is concerned and mindfulness is concerned, both of them have the same level of mindfulness. But when we talk about reduction of the stress, it is more with
Can't hear you.
You're muting her also.
Okay. It is the basic difference between and drawing. It's time when we start doing this practice, we eventually reach to the drawing stage. I'm not audible.
Renu's voice is not clear.
Not clear?
Not clear,
So then
Renu.
have to use your mic and in that
Maybe you can do that.
I'll do that. I'll go to the other room. Give me a moment, please.
Whatever I'm doing is very, very rough right now because I'm sitting in a very uncomfortable position. Kind of, I'm a coffee table and I'm sitting on a sofa and I'm 6'6", so it becomes slightly difficult to draw. So yeah, but basically this is it. So what's happening is that while you're doing the process of drawing, while you're doing the process of doodling, while you're thinking about what to do, while you're following things, there are various things happening right now. So number one is, for example, the feel of the paper, how the paper feels. Number two is the tip of this pen, how that pen is feeling. Number three is how it's going from page to page, side to side, end to end. For example, now we got parallel lines. Now we can make parallel lines so much more easily on something which is straight, but parallel lines on a curve is very difficult. So when you try to make those three, those money sort of symbols which they fill a lot of Chinese doodles with, that becomes really difficult because you need to really be there in order to follow the curve and to make sure that it follows it and it's parallel and all of those things. So in fact, now would be a good time to try to start doodling along with me, and you can see what's going to happen alongside. And see how it works towards stress relief. In fact, we also have a doodle experiment going on where we're working with individuals to see how doodling reduces their stress levels. So if you would like to be a part of that experiment, just send me a message and we'll get you on board. Ma'am, you have to mute yourself. So that is it. You want to continue?
Yeah, I don't, my speakers are not working. Am I audible now? Okay. So we were talking about drawing and doodling, and as I said that when you are doing something, especially the drawing, using your pens on the paper, you're using your hands. And as most of you are aware, the entire body is in your hands. So especially the mind is also there. So the certain movements that you make, be it in the form of mudra or be it in form of any other art, it could be knitting, it could be painting, it could be claying or anything. The movements that the fingers make, they send
Voice is echoing.
There's a lot
Voice
of
is
echo.
echoing.
and
There's an echo.
you get the desired result for it if you are aware what you want to get. So there are certain movements which could be in form of waves, it could be form of lines, it could be form of circles. They would stimulate a part of the brain and you would be able to achieve better focus. You would be able to
She's gone on mute.
Is it, am I audible now?
Yes.
All right. I'm so sorry for this mess up because both of us are very new to this setup and we don't know how all these three devices are going to be working. Okay. So now summing it up, we said doodling is without the aim. Doodling is going to calm your mind better and it is going to help you in reaching a better state in the mind where you are happier, you're more focused, you are more calm. Now, the people who are just going to start, in the school, when we are teaching the children to start learning to write, what do? We ask them to do the lines, the standing lines, the sleeping lines, slanting lines. What I have done is I have added a couple of dimensions to them. I also do dancing lines and skipping lines and crazy lines. So the dancing lines would be the lines which are into different waves and the structures. Skipping lines would be where you will start a line, give it a gap in between and continue the lines. And the crazy lines would be starting from any point, going to any point, stopping in between, and then continuing. Now, we also talk about when we are drawing, what do we normally draw in the form of? We are either making the waves, we are either making the swirls, or we are making the loops, or we are starting from one point and going to the other point, making a complete loop and a contact. Each such action that you do has a desired result. So it's not possible to cover it in our basic class now. We'll probably talk about this in our subsequent classes. But what I would like you to understand is, and actually notice also, what you have to notice is your writing angular or is your writing round? And does your writing change with the mindset that you have? You will realize when you are agitated, angry, and not in so happy state, your writing is more angular. The loops that you will make would have sharp angles to it instead of the roundness to it otherwise. And if your writing is naturally in the round form, then you are a naturally happier person. So that is how scientific the graphology and the handwriting implication is. Now, pay attention. If you are happy, you will make garlands, which would be loops and turns in the rounded form. And if you are angry and upset, you would be making more angles. Now, if you consciously try to eliminate the angles and round them off in the form of circles and garlands, you are automatically going to bring your stress levels down and get into a happier mindset. Another thing I can tell you is, have you all heard of what a vicious S is? No? So I'd like to show them.
Now see, this, I don't know if you can see this part. At the moment I started listening to you, my line started going off.
Going off as in started means, becoming more round?
No, I had to
concentrate.
I had to focus on what you were saying, and therefore I felt it go off. It's like, gadi chalate chalate, something like that. Yes, you want to do something there?
Yeah, I wanted to do something here. So if you see, is it visible?
No, that's the one.
Okay. Yes. This is something called vicious S. And it is very scientific and proven. If you do this for more than 40 seconds, your anger would come down by minimum of 50%. So you all can try doing this. Vicious S is one proven exercise for anger management. And if in case you don't have paper and pen, you can actually draw the structure in the air with your finger. So when you are upset, when you are not happy and you want to, bring all your senses together, be more grounded, start making these loops in the air and you will definitely see the difference. Another thing that you can do is, it is called this ghost climbing. I don't know if it is visible. So you pick up the thumb, touch it with your finger and the other thumb and finger, and you can keep going up. Clear? But that is not part of our doodling this thing. Okay, so giving you more insight, the people who want to remove the clutter from their minds or want to reach a logical solution to the problem that they have in their life at that point of time, they will automatically get towards drawing the geometrical patterns where there is some kind of calculation, where there is some kind of symmetry, where there is some kind of balance required in the drawings that they are making. And the people who start making flowers or, the garlands or these structures are generally people who are looking at the mental calmness and, the mental peace thing. The people who are drawn more towards scenery are actually trying to gather their attention more towards more inward things. So as you will start progressing and as we will start doing more sessions in this series, we'll tell you more about this. And by the end of this, if you have more questions, we'll address those. In the meantime, you can ask Sid about his drawing. What is he trying to do?
I'm just drawing. I'm just drawing. In fact, I'm only half a year I'm listening to you because I'm totally into this. Because honestly, I can't listen to you and do this.
So you will understand this when you are holding something in your hand and you are trying to make some sense out of the figure that you are trying to get on the paper. You get totally immersed in that process and everything else that is on your mind actually takes a back seat. And if you start adding more colors to your drawings, like there are certain colors which if they are used in certain combinations, they get a certain effect on your mind. So we'll talk about all this later on also. So what Sid is drawing right now is something which is more rounded. There is a sharp angle at a point, which is taking a dip.
This one.
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
But largely it would mean that he wants to create a structure which is more wholesome, round, and more attention seeking.
So if I draw this at the back.
Then you're trying to consciously take the attention away from your attention seeking. Oh my God, all of you are looking so serious. I'm looking at Aanchal. She's doing something with so much of concentration. Hi, Aanchal.
Overthinking mind, Jaya, the moment you start with this, Jaya, you will not, hey, Aanchal, you will not be able to do your drawing as well as do the overthinking. It's not possible. So what I want you to try, Jaya, is to actually pull up a sheet and overthinking चल रहा है, कोई बात नहीं, चलने दीजिए, उसको कुछ मत कहिए. Just start doodling. Just pick up a pen and let's start with...
I don't think you can think while you're drawing. Sometimes you're so involved in the drawing. You're just drawing, you're not thinking.
So either you can make random shapes in the air like that while still thinking, oh my God, that fellow so-and-so did this, blah, 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 but that's it. I can't do any order to it. But if you actually expect me to put something down on paper, I don't think I can do that. So here, I'm just going to... Okay, why am I making fish shapes?
I believe you're obsessed with fish shapes.
Not really. I like to eat them, but... But yeah, so anyway, so we're just making any sort of a shape. I'm now trying to change it from the fish thingy. And because we can't make those lumpy lines, so we're just going to make something swaying and cut it into bits and pieces. That is that. Now let me maybe just divide this into things. This is just a random shape. I haven't thought about it before that ye demo karenge, ye usko karenge. It's just something that's come spontaneously.
How long is the session? 1 hour or half an hour?
The total session is 1 hour, but we are going to just talk about this for another maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes more. Then we will invite. Then we're going to show you some preview of the designs that Renu is going to demonstrate to you in the next session. Because today I'm just talking about random doodling, but some of us find that a little, let's say, difficult to do something random. What Renu will be doing will be extremely structured, somewhat geometrical, fairly logical, all those things, as well as quite aesthetic. Wait a minute, who's that? Ooh, Deepa Mazumdar at work again. Deepa, that looks lovely. Yeah?
She's just done it. No.
I know, I was watching.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Okay, I want to show them a pattern. You want to finish that first?
No, this is just random.
Okay. So this is a simple square, as all of you can see. I'm going to show you a pattern which is going to help you again get the grip on your hand and fingers, and also get how basically the lines work. So you draw a square, start from one point, and on the other end, just go a notch down. So if you start from one point, go, you will see it has gone like this. Coming to the next side, you point it a notch down, and from that point, come to this point. I'm not very neat at this moment, but you get the drift. This side also, you go on that point and start here. Okay? And you will keep going in random lines, going from one point to the other point.
Okay, you could tell me to do it, I can do it.
Okay, go.
So what you're saying is, suppose I've got this here. Mere pen kisne mara? Thank you. Okay, so we've got, you're saying one square like this. And I take this from this point there.
Yes.
And then from this point here.
Yes.
This point.
You
there.
should actually don't give it so much of gap, but yeah.
Okay, make it smaller.
Make it
Okay,
smaller.
and this point start from here and then there.
Yeah.
Does it matter where I start from?
No.
I can do reverse meters.
But you need to follow one direction. Like you go clockwise or anti-clockwise.
Clockwise. Sorry, got
so
it.
Now you start from this point, go back.
Yahan se, right?
No, yahi se.
Right. From here to there, then there to there, there to there.
Just one thing. Initially, it was very, very clear. Now it could be seen in a small window, so it's not very, evident.
What?
It is not visible?
No, it's very small. Like you guys are more visible in the middle frame. Initially, the pens and everything, when we started, they were more clear. The drawing that Sid was making, the fish, it was more clear. Now we can see you more, and that,
Maybe she's talking about spotlighting the drawing, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what the term is.
Figure out how to do that. You're right.
You can pin it yourself also.
I don't know how to do it. Just a second.
She can pin it herself also. Take your mouse over that image, and there are 3 dots, and then you can click on that. Better. Now I can see it.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So then from here, once again, we go there, there.
Those are Zentangles.
Part of Zentangles.
Yes.
but this is the basic start of line diagrams. So you saw this. Now, if you make another square, now make 4 quadrangles. Beach में दोनों के lines, line from here and line here.
4 quadrants.
4 quadrants. अब हर इसको as a separate square treat करिए and draw the.
Okay. So.
Yeah. All of you can try it. I hope everybody knows how we are going forward.
So as we're doing this, what I suggest is, so for a moment, I was just caught up in the same thing that all of us get caught up. Khatam karna. Forgetting that the process is the piece invoking one. So once again, I just had to remind myself, because I just thought that these two look like crap. And they didn't really help my mind either.
I completely agree, Sipsa.
So I'm just going to go slowly. And it feels so much better. Feels. I'm sorry, somebody said something, I missed it. So just from there. Let me use the fine marker and see what happens with that. Or this. You guys remember this? Anybody remembers hero pens? So let's try with a hero pen.
Chinese pens these were.
Ji. And in fact, if you remember, ये green वाला premium होता था. Black वाला बहुत easily available था, लेकिन green और maroon बड़ी मुश्किल से मिलता था. At least that's my perception.
Yeah, royal.
Yeah.
How do we show our drawing to you?
You can hold it in front of the camera.
Okay. I don't know how to do that, so I'm trying to figure it out.
You lift it up with your hand and do this. That's it.
Sanghamitra, I would really want to see what you are doing. You're doing it with so much of concentration.
Okay, now here's the problem. I lifted my pen in between. Now, where do I restart from?
Oh, cool. Have you done this before?
Only emoji.
Even Gunjan's is very nice.
Okay, I don't know where to start, restart from. So I'm going to go back to my.
Okay,
No,
now I'll tell you something else. This was
I
one
never
structure. Am I visible here? No. Here? Yeah. So let's say if you have squares and you want to repeat this, you can divide your squares like this. Like this. And just this. And then make the triangular patterns. Same way. Okay. So why I am talking about this and spending so much of time on this particular pattern is, A, you will be able to come to a lot many patterns with this. B, it is going to help you do mental decluttering. C, it is going to get you immersed in the process. 4, you are going to be much more calmer. And what I want you all to do is practice this over a couple of days and get back to us whether it has helped or not.
Can you see my drawing now?
Who was that?
Kamla from Chennai.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Gunjan.
Oh, Kamla, you've been at it for a while. Come on. This is good.
Yes.
Thank you. I've been, while you're talking, I've been just drawing triangles and circles and squares.
Ma'am, आपने ना shading भी बहुत अच्छी की है. I can see the shading in the curves. Kamla, would you want to tell us what was your mental frame when you started to draw this? Because I can see you have put in the geometrical shapes there. I can see circle, triangle, rectangle.
Overlapped it and created kind of sets out of that.
Yes. So with the fish, she has the
fish was inspired by Sid's drawing.
Rectangle, she has square, circle, and triangle all.
The fish was inspired by Sid's drawing.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that a very simple way of making a fish.
No, but what I want to know is when you started to draw, was a specific emotion strong in your mind?
No, nothing. I'll just let my hand flow. That's it. Nothing.
All right. Even Anchal's is very nice. Anybody who's done this for the first time here?
Yeah, I've done it for the first time. So.
Hi, Amanjot. How are you?
First time.
So really, while you're doing it, I would really suggest trying to just make anything, but follow the stroke of your pen. And it's not about what it looks like. It's about just taking that pen from one side to the other. And there's such a difference between the feel of the paper based on which pen you use. So if you're talking about paper feel, I've recently started using those dip pens in which you dip it in ink and paper and all that. And those can have some really sharp nibs. And then you hear that the nibs crashing across the paper. And you have to be even more mindful because those pens some of those pens cannot be moved upward. They have to be moved downward. And you have to keep track of the ink you're using. So it's very interesting.
I did this also for the first time and I felt very, very
I
engrossed
know. I think you
into
shared this with us. You shared this with us when you did it, huh?
Yeah. I was so engrossed and very calm in my mind after I did this. It's really
I should show you mine also.
Wonderful.
जब आप कर रहे थे, करने से पहले आपकी मानसिक स्थिति कैसी थी उस समय? आपने करवा चौथ पे किया था या एक दिन पहले किया था?
Yes, the same day in the morning.
The same day. That means combined with work and fasting and this and that and all those things, it must have been fairly hectic time.
Yeah. I felt very relaxed after this.
Brilliant.
Very much.
Brilliant. So can you describe how you were doing it? So you were sitting down, you were holding this thing in one hand. Can you just describe the process? Then maybe you put lemon or something or oil or something in your hand.
Nothing. I just nothing. No cream, no oil, no chemicals, nothing. I just took my hand and the phone and I started and I wanted to make all these designs very much equal to each other. That was my effort to make the little petals. But yeah, they did not come out very well, but still I was trying it out.
Very nice.
My concentration was very high on this. So I was not shaking. I was not moving here and there. So I was like a statue. I was doing it. So it was good.
Awesome. Archana, would you like to show us the stuff that you're doing?
You want to take a spotlight on her?
Oh yeah. How do we do that? Archana, spotlight. Okay, Archana, you're on the spotlight.
Okay. Also, ma'am, your older work? I can't hear you.
Hanji Renu?
I'm saying also your older work.
Yeah. So I made this one a few days back. Then One is this with the color.
This is lovely.
Then I was trying tribal painting, so I made this.
This
Varli
looks
art.
like a tribal art drawing.
Varli
I was
art.
trying Varli art.
Yeah. And I love the border.
Yeah. Then a few days back, I was trying some colors, so I made these leaves with watercolor and these leaves.
And how do you feel while
This is my Hulda work.
How do you feel while doing it?
Hanji Sid, you
How
were
do you
saying
feel while
something?
doing it, man?
Oh, very calming, very soothing. And
Personally, I don't get to know where the time has passed. What about you?
Pardon, sir?
I said, ma'am, personally, I don't get to know कि time कहाँ चला गया. What about you?
Time kahan chala gaya? Whole day I'm doing this only. And before we started with the group, I'm doing this since so many years. Since childhood, my last page of all my notebooks were just filled with some kind of drawing. Then I had chronic insomnia, and then I started doodling at the night. And that's how I started doodling. I'm doing it regularly.
Was your insomnia because of lots of thoughts and thinking and all that?
Thinking something or the other in the mind, kuch na kuch chal raha hai. And when you are not, then you feel so restless at night. जब आप सो नहीं रहे हैं और क्या करें? So instead of just feeling restless and all that, I started doodling. And I used to doodle at night or make mandalas. That's how I started.
Have you tried adult coloring books?
Yeah.
Okay, what I am showing on my screen is something with what I started with. So you all can see how juvenile it is.
I did this.
This is something that I did in my very early days of drawing, which was about 2 years back. And this is what I do now.
Very nice.
Okay. And
can you
let me
remove
tell
the
you, I
spotlight?
could not draw.
Can you just remove the spotlight thing so we can pin the particular ourselves?
Gauri, could you help with that? Remove the spotlight from Archana.
I'll just pin myself.
So ultimately, what we're really talking about are two things. On the one hand, we have the neurological perspective that Renu is talking about. And on the other hand, we have the mindfulness perspective that I'm talking about. From my perspective, from Renu, what she's saying, there are certain shapes, specific exercises, specific protocols. For example, the Zentangle wala jo abhi demonstrate kiya tha, which result in a certain degree of, let's say, mental involvement, which further results in, let's say, staying in the present. But with my perspective, all I'm asking you to do is to simply follow the lines. If you are creative, great. If you're not creative, it doesn't matter. Because the outcome of this process is in the process, not in the aesthetic output. So even if you just take one square, so you just take, even if I just take one square, divide this into 4 sections, and simply make sure that my lines
can't see your work. Can we have the spotlight on your work?
No, spotlight is still on Archana.
Could you could spotlight be on my drawing, please? Renu, not Renu, sorry. Gauri?
Yeah, I'm not able to do it.
Achha, main kar deta hu. Is that better?
Yes, yes.
So then all I have to do is make sure that I start from there and take it till the end. And the equidistant part of it. Just focus on that. Focus on how the pen is feeling. Feel that paper, the little bumps, the way the pen glides across. Maybe even change pens for a moment. You want to be extra mindful? Use a thick tip and use it really lightly. So you're not feeling the paper very much, but you're totally concentrating on making sure the line is fairly straight. Oh, by the way, unless you go fast, you're going to find slightly wavy lines. So if you're having problems with making lines, remember your lines will not be as straight if you use your wrist. You have to use your elbow. So for example, if I want to make a line from here to here, that's all I can do because that's my wrist movement range. But I want to make it more, I can actually use my glide the hand over, lay the line, allow the tip to actually, lay the line onto the paper, use your elbow to move. And that's when you'll be able to do a whole lot more. For example, you want to make a large thing.
मेरी क्लास है मेरी क्लास चल रही है सर गुस्सा करेंगे
क्लास चल रही क्या
भाग जाओ
Oh, still at it. Who was that one? Oh, who was that? Amanjot. So these are fun, but these are slightly difficult because it's kind of difficult to create parallel curved lines. In fact, I'd like you to try this, and I'm very curious to see who's going to get the best curved ones. So the curved doesn't. Suppose I'd say this. So this is 1, 2, 3. Now that is difficult to do. Why don't you try it? ये मेरा एक हो गया, but हर बार नहीं होता. So we just do one more there. As you notice, this one should have come here, but it didn't. Now we can make one more.
Shaina, no? Shaina, yeah. Your camera is not proper. Star with different fillers. All right, cool.
Oh, very cool.
Richa, what are you doing? Okay. इससे छोटा नहीं बन सकता था? Yeah, this is all right. Okay. Okay, so the people who are starting right away and who has not done any kind of drawing or long drawing before, they can actually start with 2 lines each of sleeping lines, standing lines, slanting lines, and cross lines. Is that clear to everyone? So you can probably do that a couple of days. Let the fluidity of the movement come in your hands and let your fingers be more open, and the movements will become easier as the time would go. Then probably you will move on to more curves and circles.
I have a question.
Sure.
If we are not very creative and we can't think of the design, so like you can actually see it from somewhere and do it, will it have the same effect?
Absolutely.
See, when you are doodling, there are no rules. It is a ruleless form of art. As I said, this is not drawing. When you will draw, you would want probably your portions and your dimensions and your aesthetics in place, but not with doodling. And for everyone, this is to enjoy, not actually start worrying about whether or not you are able to do it well. I started doing it during the lockdown because I was so stressed and I couldn't, draw for my life to save my life when I was in school. I used to give money to my friends to make my diagrams. So this is very recent. And if I can do it at my age, I'm sure everybody can do it.
All right, thanks.
So in a nutshell, that is it. So we've got two perspectives. One is neurological. The second is mindfulness based. The neurological one works with specific loops and patterns with specific shapes that indicate specific things. And for example, like Renu said, if you'd like to bring down your anxiety level, bring down your stress levels almost immediately, this is what you do, the kind of vicious S that you demonstrated. And the next time we'll be doing even more. But next time we'll be doing even more, like Shana said, if you're not creative. And for example, there's the kind of stuff that she does. Can you see that? So lots of these, and there are many of these, and all of these follow a certain pattern, a certain way of doing things, which again she'll share. So things like this. But we won't be doing mandalas because there are enough and more places where people are doing mandalas. So we'll be working on other patterns, other designs, and working on how we can be more and more mindful and how we can reduce stress via this process. So in a nutshell, that is it. Do you guys have any questions? This was just to introduce you to the concept of doodles for this. And if this interested you, you must come to the next one where we're actually going to talk about how we make these and also share with you a couple of sheets of designs to use in your own time.
I've progressed this far.
Who's that?
Kamla here from Chennai.
Oh, Kamla, there you are. There you are. Oh, wow. They should.
I don't know.
I
don't know why I like to draw.
Wait a minute, Kamla. I'd love for everyone to see what you're doing.
I like to draw eyes. I like to draw eyes in my work. I don't know what that indicates.
Maybe a challenge. Are you able to draw eyes very? Show. Where are you? Oh, there you. Okay, there. Can you bring it closer to the eyes? Oh, I see what you mean. But even eyes, they're kind of tough. So I'm also working on eyes at the moment, among other things, and currently working on bird's eyes, actually. So let's see how that works.
The eyes I draw look like monster's eyes.
No, this one looks like a human eye.
This one looks like a human eye.
In fact, I also always draw eyes.
I find a lot of people do that. I wonder why.
Now
yeah, I want to figure out why that happens. Why does anybody
I was doing eyes?
All right. Okay. How about I tell you the people who draw eyes and fishes, basically this shape.
Okay.
Okay. So there is also a significance.
What's that?
That is, you're getting your artistic form out in everybody's face. You want to be noticed for what you are doing with your hands.
Is it to do with the shape or with the perceived difficulty level of the thing? For example, eyes are difficult. If I make an eye, then I can show up, see, I made an eye. Not like that?
If you look at it, if you're not drawing eye, no, you are drawing fishes also.
Yes.
So it means that you have recently focused your attention on this form of art.
Okay.
And you want to bring it out. It's like coming out shape.
Okay.
The people who make more triangles, basically, are the people who are actually trying to weigh their options. The people who are drawing more towards circles are probably at a point of time coming to a conclusion about something, but they don't know how to start implementing it. So this is the basic level of analysis. If you go even further, how you bring out more dimensions to that particular shape would actually can give the, peek into your mind what you are going through.
If I could interrupt you for 1 second, Richa and Gunjan had a question.
Sure.
Here, Richa, go for it.
I was asking Renu Di, she was saying something about that whenever we are practicing some mudras, our mind is in our hands. So isn't doodling. She was saying something, but that time voice was not clear. I want her to continue that statement.
Okay. So as it is said that every part of your body is actually on your two hands, especially your mind. So if you want to do give any kind of stimulation to your mind, you can do that through mudras, specific mudras. As you must have heard, you do dhyan mudra for concentration and focus. Then there are others which actually draw your attention to the different areas in your body. Similarly, with drawing and through certain patterns, you can do the same thing. But mainly the focus is on the mind, because the neurotransmitters through the hands take the message to your brain. And you can actually, by copying those patterns and going through those patterns, reach a desired result. Largely speaking, it is calmness and focus, getting out of the loop mind. But it can also help in improving the memory, decision making. And also, if you are at a crossroad and you are not able to figure something out, you will realize you are doing the drawings in such a manner where the patterns are actually taking you to a solution. You know, like a labyrinth, जो हम बोलते हैं ना भूल भुलैया, उस तरीके का पैटर्न बनता है और उसमें से आपको बाहर कैसे निकलना है वो समझ में आता है.
And anyone here who if you believe in the metaphysical, if you believe in entities and so on and so forth, sometimes it's very interesting because as you're drawing, you can also enter a state of trance. So it's almost meditative because you're engaging yourself, immersing yourself and all that. और जब आप वहां जाते हैं, and if you choose to connect, you can actually connect to entities who might be around, and you get some really interesting sketches. For example, in my case, I do sketches far beyond my skill level at times. Very advanced for my actual level. Number one. Number two, the kind of if I can do a face, for example, I can just do a simple normal face. You know, आगे side से या सामने से या side से. But the beach wale poses are a little difficult because you need to understand and practice those things. But those things come effortlessly. And one time I connected to something. I asked who you are, and I got a picture of. And I drew a picture of who they were. It wasn't a very pleasant looking picture. And then I asked who you were. Then I got a picture of a girl there. And 3-4 pictures में इनकी थोड़ी सी कहानी उन्होंने बताई कि उनके साथ क्या क्या हुआ. It was very interesting stuff. If you choose to believe it, or just disregard it as bullshit, whatever you want. It's just interesting. Hey Gunjan, go for it.
I wanted to ask exactly the same thing. Can you hear me? When I was in school, one thing was mandalas. I used to always make the mandala, but side profile of female side profiles was one thing that I used to draw like a doodle all the time. And then I work on the eyes and then work on the lips and put moles here and there. And all the time, the mood of that side profile used to reflect my mood also. Like if I am in a bad mood, I would make it crying. And different faces used to show up, and I had no control on what face is going to show up next. Only after when I would draw, a new face would show up. So exactly what you just said, I was going to say that face, front, side, I used to draw that a lot. I don't know why.
So interesting.
But yeah, I don't know what was the reason. So I wanted to ask, what is the mental activity behind drawing faces, side profiles?
Psychologically, she's your girl.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Gunjan. Gunjan, first of all, what you are saying also reflects some unresolved issue you have with a person. But here you are saying since the face reflects your mood, I am assuming here it is some unresolved issue that you have with yourself. You know, if you are upset and you are drawing the same expression, maybe either you have figured out why you are upset and you want the other side of you or your subconscious mind to give you the solution, or if you have not figured it out, it could also mean that you want to actually reach to the bottom of the problem. If it is always your mood, then I would say you are trying to have the internal dialogue with yourself. But if it is someone whom you can recognize or whom you can know who that person is, in that case, it would be where you want to have a dialogue with that person
and find the answers. Does that make sense? So you try and analyze the next time this thing happens, whether it fits into this explanation or not. I have seen so many times you are going onto a certain pattern. I've seen that happening with Sid quite a bit of time. He's drawing random figures, you know, cups and saucers and objects. Out of nowhere, there would be a face that would appear. Or sometimes there would be a figure of someone hanging or stabbing, which is like very spooky. So
I actually have one of and this was just coming apne aap aa raha tha, of a hangman, a very accurate picture of a guillotine and a severed head. And call me sick, but I don't know where that came from.
Okay, so I mean, everything that basically you put down on the paper is reflective of what is going on in your mind. It could be your active mind or it could be your subconscious mind. Sometimes it is reflective of what emotions you are going through. Sometimes it is reflective of what emotional state you want to reach. But in all the cases, it means that you want to get out of the current state that you are in. Either you are distressed and you want to feel better, or if you are upset, you want to, you know, resolve the issue.
Richard, did you have something else to say? Or Shaina, did you have a question? If you could just raise your hand. Shaina, you want to go, please?
Yeah. So, you said that, you know, doodling can help us resolve certain issues or problems we are facing. So, how do we know, like whatever we are drawing and what problems are we? How is it solving the problem? How do we get to know that? Like,
May I give my take on that? Yeah, I don't know what her take is, but my take is that we already have all the answers, but we are prevented from reaching there due to, let's say, emotional reasons. Or emotional reasons means something else, maybe a preconceived notion, something emotional is preventing us from reaching that. So when you are mindful, when you're meditating, when you're doing all of those things, what you're doing is you're separating yourself from your conscious mind, which is the repository or the connection of most of our emotional connections, and we move to the subconscious. So what's happening there is that we are actually tapping ourselves for the answer, and just it's like wo kehte na, the best politicians are those who allow the bureaucrats to do their jobs, and then the bureaucrats get the job done and they do a great job, and the politician gets all this thing, right? So similarly, what we're doing in this case is just not meddling with our own mind's ability to solve the problem. And how will you know? Because you will get the answer. That's what I think. What's your take?
Okay, I'll ask you a question, Shaina. What is it, first of all, Shania or Shaina?
Shaina.
Shaina. Okay, Shaina, you know this, that the people who do crosswords and solve the, you know, puzzles on the paper are people who have the reduced chances of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. This is a known fact. Everybody knows it. Why does that happen?
There's some neuroplasticity.
Yes. So what happens is we are actually, through those actions and also drawing, in this case, solving puzzles and doing the geometrical and the mathematical this thing. Similarly, through drawing also, what you're doing, you're trying to get the geometry and the dimensions right. So what you are doing is you're shifting your brain towards more logical frame of mind. All right. So I am not saying, I cannot tell you this, the kind of problems you are facing and the kind of solutions you are looking at, this is going to work as a prep for your mind to reach a more logical solution. Here, what you are doing is you are letting your emotions go down and the logic and reasoning come up to solve the problem. You won't be able to identify what the problem is, but you will be able to enhance your logical capacity to address that answer. Do I make myself clear? Anything else? You convinced with the answer, or you still have some doubt?
Okay, who won, by the way? She or me? No, she's in Dharam Pankaj.
नहीं आप तो बताएंगे.
Richa, you want to say something then? हाँ बोली ना. While Shaina thinks about how she can extricate herself from that question.
I guess I'm inclined more towards drawing symmetrical patterns only.
Okay.
Like does it has any analysis? Like
yes.
Every time I'm starting something, I'm starting with symmetrical and ending up with symmetrical pattern only.
You're looking for balance. As simple as that.
Analyze this.
I will.
Seriously?
Huh?
I was joking.
No, I'm not.
Okay, fine.
You're looking for balance, Richa.
Okay.
See, because I know you so well, I don't know if you will think it is a bias, this thing, but anywhere where you're drawing more parallel structures, where the lines are equidistant, the gap between the lines is like, equal, and it is aesthetically more balanced figure, there you are actually looking at enhancing the balance in your life. And when I say balance, it does not necessarily mean in the relationship. It might mean that you feel certain part of your personality is lacking a certain trait. So you might want to balance that. You might want to lose weight, gain weight, appear more brighter, acquire a skill, which probably is going to fulfill a missing part in your life. So that is how I'm talking about the balance.
Oh, and by the way, the drawing I asked her to analyze was this one. And I thought she would definitely not be doing this one. But she can do it. So Renu, go for it.
You want a public this thing?
Okay, Renu, we will do this later. Thank you.
Anybody
Unless
else?
it's something good, in which case you could please go ahead.
Let me analyze it and then tell you.
It was presenting something, some energy coming out of your body, something like that, mission of energy.
इनको लग रहा है फूल है और इतना complicated फूल है.
अच्छा आपको क्या दिख रहा है?
It's the energy.
How interesting.
And this is also talking about balance.
So next time I'm in Bhopal, I'd like you to show me the कि आपको exactly energy निकल रही है कौन सी all that. I'd like to have a chat.
But look at it. We are talking about balance here.
Is this balance?
Yes, you're looking at balance.
But this is not symmetrical.
No, it is not symmetrical. But you're trying to balance the arms. Okay. There is something which is some main theme of yours, and which you're going to aid through other dimensions. So maybe this is your
well, actually,
wellness.
You're right, because I'm always looking for some kind of balance, because I'm always biting off more than I can chew. You've been accusing me of being obsessed with doodling and so on and so forth, which I don't agree with. But all those things, I'm always trying to do something or the other, and therefore balance की हमेशा जरूरत कुछ न कुछ पड़ती रहती है, because you know what I mean, demand supply kind of thing. So, hey, Sonali, sorry, you were saying something.
No, I was showing the drawing, but so now.
Hi. I wanted to know that whenever I start drawing, they are always flowers. Like I start with 6-petal flower or a tree, always.
One
so
moment,
what does it say?
Richa, आप हमारी group में है क्या? Doodlers group में? अच्छा आइए ना, then you'll see what Sonali is talking about. She makes the most fantastic illustrations, and they always remind me of traditional Polish art in the way they are done. In fact, you should see them. You should look up Polish art, Sonali. You'll see what I mean. Very vivid colors and what an interesting way of borders and fills and all of that.
No, I will join.
I'll tell you a very, very simple way to analyze. What are you drawing? You are drawing flowers. What do flowers mean to you?
Like they give me very. I feel very peaceful when I draw them. I love the colors, especially
No, forget that. I'm asking you, what do flowers mean to you?
Flowers, beautiful things, something very beautiful.
There you go. You're seeking beauty in your life. or you are looking at internal beauty. It could be anything. If I am drawing nature, like trees and fields and green stuff, then what I am looking at, I am trying to connect my inner self with the universe. I'm putting myself there in the out. But if you're drawing just the flowers, you're looking at the softness, the beauty, freshness, fragrance. It could be anything.
I want to ask Richa what
because first thing in the morning, what I do is when I go on my terrace, whatever flowers are there bloomed in the morning, I always get some or the other answer for myself for the day, like the question which I have put up.
Oh, that will happen because it is the expression which comes from your inner being, which probably you are not able to face yourself. And then you are putting it on the paper. It is actually giving you some answers which you don't have the strength to, own up to.
Yeah, right. Very true. Thank you. Love you.
Richa ji, आपको इसमें क्या दिखा? Apart from the obvious.
Can I actually say it, sir?
मैं आपको कॉल करता हूँ. अच्छा बोल दीजिए. और डर गया हूँ, पता नहीं आपको दोनों के बीच में क्या बोलने वाले हो.
An alien.
हाँ जी.
An alien.
An alien.
Yes, but in the an alien, but in this earth, who is surviving in this earth, living in this earth, but it's an alien.
Visiting alien on the earth. Yes, huh? Okay. Another thing.
Has she ever done? Have you ever gotten her in France?
Richa? Yes. She's done hypnotherapy with me.
Oh, yeah, she's done hypnotherapy with you. I would love to have a chat with your subconscious.
Okay.
See what's happening.
So another thing for everybody, anybody who is drawing in more optimistic mood will probably be drawing the sunlight and the light wali cheezein. And when you are in the darker mood, you will probably tend to draw in dark colors and the evening time thing. But this is not applicable on the artists who are drawing on a theme. If you have a theme to draw, then this is not applicable. If I am asking you to draw something on flowers, you are going to be drawing flowers. Then it doesn't mean that you are not trying to connect with the inner beauty or fragrance or whatever. But if it is a natural something which is not stimulus based, then the naturally more optimistic, happy people would be drawing the daytime figures, and the people who are in the darker moods would be going more towards the darker times. Can anyone recall any work that they have done and resonate with what I am saying?
Sunita ji. Archana this side.
Ji, ma'am.
Whenever I draw, sometimes my drawings are good, pretty good, okay. And sometimes they are so bad. I don't feel like look at them. So bad. और ऐसा लगता है अभी पेज फाड़ो और फेंक दो यहाँ से इस book से निकाल दो. And at times it's good, okay.
Well,
and
at times they are really training
bad.
in impermanence. That's also training in impermanence. It's one of the qualities in a certain branch of Buddhism that one would like to inculcate. Basically, make what you're doing, whatever it is, good or bad, crumple it up and throw it away. That's your training in impermanence.
I do that. Awesome. I just tear the page and throw it off. उसको फाड़ा और फेंक दिया.
आप ये बताइए, जब भी आपकी ऐसी ड्राइंग होती है, is it reflective of your mood?
Not mood. नहीं. कुछ जल्दी होगी खत्म करने की या कुछ काम होगा. Maybe
so it is reflective. It is reflective, na. See, from what I have seen of your drawing, it is very apparent that you really enjoy your work and you have got a good hold on your craft. But sometimes when it doesn't come out, and especially the patterns which you have mastered otherwise, that means that you want to get out of that particular time frame to the other time frame. यहाँ तो आपके बैक ऑफ द माइंड पे ये चल रहा है कि मैं जिस सिचुएशन से हूँ या जिस तरीके के like environment में हूँ या let's say कोई उस specific time पे कोई चीज है मैं उससे निकल जाऊँ. Also, if somebody important in your life is going through a rough phase and you are hoping that उस बंदे की ये वाली situation जल्दी निकल जाए, it could also be reflective of that. But it is always reflective of what's going on in your mind.
I do this quite often कि फाड़ा और फेंक दिया. Just.
Okay.
I agree with you. I do the same.
Fada to again it would be like, yeah, this is something that you don't like and you want to clear it off. Yeah. So I think we should wrap up now.
We'll call it a day. And by the way, if this session has brought about any kind of questions in your mind, or perhaps you think that if you're going further on this might resolve certain let's say stress situations you might have, please feel free to talk to us. We are on Facebook, we are on a lot of places, or you wait for the next session and do this in the meantime and attend that next session and see how you'd like to move forward on your role.
And yes, if you want.
And Sangamitra, आप सच में बहुत serious लग रही हैं and very engrossed, and I'd love to know what's going on in your mind.
I am trying to grasp the things because first time I am doing it, and I really want to enhance my mind's capability and avoid Alzheimer's and dementia, and and enhance the subconscious things.
Imagine Alzheimer's. Imagine if you're dying mane on our deathbed of Alzheimer's and wondering who the heck are all these people around me. I'd like to recognize them honestly.
What a thing to say, Sid.
I know, seriously, only he can come up with.
No, I actually want to recognize those people. So yes, this is a good thing we're doing. I'm positive.
Okay, and as far as the analysis of the drawing is concerned, anyone who wants me to analyze the drawing, it does not have to be something that you have done in a limited time frame or copied from somewhere or done it based on a theme. It has to be something random and done naturally. It doesn't matter if you have finished it in slots.
Yeah, अच्छा लग रहा है, बुरा लग रहा है, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Renu, before we go, sorry, Archana. Please carry on.
I start 2-3 drawings at the same time. कभी इसको कर लिया, कभी वो छोड़ा, दूसरा कर लिया, फिर दूसरा पेज कर लिया. So at a time, 3 or 4 pages are there.
I do that as well, Archana. I do that as well. I've got one जो आपने मेरा देखा ना, छोटा सा वो शहर जो मैं बना रहा हूँ, छोटा सा वो बने जा रहा है. तो वो 2-3 महीने से चल रहा है, वो आपने देखा. Then I got another one which is full of worms.
Yeah.
So basically, I've been adding worms for the last 2-3 months, and now I'm
not only with doodling, with कुछ knitting, कुछ चीज तो चारों चीजें मेरे आसपास होंगी. At times,
I think that just reflects your versatility and need for
that is being creative.
That also, but ma'am, like it is like at one point of time you feel so many emotions, huh? So your engagement into different work reflects on the different emotions. If you are happy and sad at the same time, worried about something, तो वो एक ही drawing में बहुत मुश्किल से reflect होगा ना. So this could also mean that you are logically sorting your emotions and addressing them differently.
So for example, this drawing, this activity for this thing which fulfills this need, and this one for this need, which is very interesting because earlier I used to draw my city, bits of my city every single day. I used to draw little bits, but now 3 weeks I haven't touched it. Maybe because the reason I started it, I don't need that right now. But yesterday I drew one in this. So is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, how interesting.
And as we are addressing multiple problems, let's say we are trying to increase the focus, at the same time bring calm, and also address the rational thinking, then what I'll do is when I give the solution and give the drawings to the students or to the subjects, I ask them to do different shapes. If I have to give them one exercise, different shapes, but I also give them different colors. So the colors involve a different, aspect of this. The shapes would address different aspects and maybe the combinations different.
Renu, may I ask one question, please?
Please.
Ma'am, let's make Sunita's question the last one. And
Yes,
others,
so
please just give us a shout out on Community Healers or मेरी website पर जाके, website is calwellness.in. calwellness.in पे जाके सबसे नीचे scroll करेंगे, there is a link to join our doodling group. You are very welcome to join there and talk about whatever you want to talk about there also. We are both there. Please go ahead.
How often, when do you meet? When does the doodling group meet?
It doesn't meet. This is the every Wednesday right now. This is it. But we're talking and doodling and chatting all day.
24 hours.
She was like, meeting की जरूरत ही नहीं. तो वैसे भी लगे रहते हैं.
I just wanted to ask you what do sea waves denote? Because sometimes I make very dark. I used to, now I'm not doing much, but very, very light sea. Sometimes I would, and I do mainly shading. I love shading with my pencil.
Okay, but so, do you have a clear indication whether they are coming or they are going?
No,
because
not
both of them
exactly.
Would mean different things.
See, basically it is sea. So it could be angry sea, it could be a calm sea, it could be waves, it could be just a quiet sea, still with slight rippling water.
Are you by any chance, if I may say so, going through identity crisis?
I wouldn't understand that. What exactly?
I mean, do you feel, especially while you are drawing this, do you feel this that you have not reached your rightful place? Yeah, you wanted to do something you have not been able to do, and you have some kind of regret, and you think your place in the world or your place in whatever environment you are in is lost and it is not rightful. So you feel मेरी personality को इधर होना चाहिए था, इधर नहीं है.
Or suppose you would say just a basic nature of being a basic state of being unsettled for reasons which might be different.
Or
is that happening?
Yes, I think I maybe I deserved something else, but I did not get it. And जो मेरे पास है, I deserved much more than that.
So some schools of thought, they think about depictions of the ocean as representing a massive unknown and unconscious, a deep thing. Is not valid in this case?
No. This is very, very certainly to do with identity.
I can show you one. It's right here, like what I have done. If you can see it.
I'm थोड़ा focus ठीक करिए ना.
I don't know if you can see it or not.
Maybe
I'll send it to you on this thing.
I think coming. Yes. Basically regret about not being able to achieve what you wanted to. That is how I will largely.
But now that you're saying it, I'll have to start thinking about it. Okay, I've never thought about it.
Or be share kariye, come connect with us offline also.
I will do that.
Hannah, I mean, think about it and let me know also. I would also want the validation whether the way I'm analyzing is correct or not.
Because there are no facts.
Because sometimes I get by the depth of it probably, and I'm very scared of deep sea, to be very honest. When I'm standing closer to sea, I'm only crying. But now I'm going into mindfulness. That Sid will talk later.
That way, Sunita, I would say it psychologically, I'll have a different explanation. Because you have fear of sea, you are drawing it a lot so that you get more familiar with it and the fear of unknown is washed.
Could be. Okay.
Like, the people who are scared of Scorpios would draw them. The people who are scared of heights would draw tall structures. It's basically, they use it as a combat strategy to address the fear that they have.
You're talking about something like exposure therapy?
See, otherwise I love it. I love being close to water. I love being closer to oceans. But that depth is what, probably, I don't know it happens to others or not, but कि वो इतना deep है कि उसका कोई end नहीं है. Probably that is what.
So, mota तौर पे, this is what I can tell you. But if I could have more samples and talk more with you, we can reach a logical deduction.
We'll do that. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think I'm holding everybody. So we'll connect.
Right.
No, but that is a very interesting question and a very interesting answer, which I'm sure will give all of us a little bit of insight into what we're doing. So guys, thank you so much for attending this, and for most of us staying, well past the end of the session. Thanks so much. This is very interesting for us, and in fact, the more such samples we see, the more people we meet, the more we see what you're doing, what you were feeling, and all that. It's educative for us as well, especially for her, and because she's actually studied it. So that's very interesting. Anything to say before we sign up, Lynn?
First of all,
thank you so much. Thank you so much
for coming and attending and staying. And this is my first session on community healers. I want all of you to leave feedback for me, please.
That's amazing.
Thank you
Loved
so
it.
much, Renu and Sid. Thank you so much. And we should
Loved
do it regularly now.
Yeah, we want to start doing it regularly again. So Archana, in fact, अगर आप थोड़ा सा push करें, basically wag a finger every now and then, I'm sure we'll do something. Seriously, I need push. I'm doing too many things. I need a push. So
and are you doing those meditative sessions or no?
Meditation camps have been discontinued. I think my personal protocols are too tough for most people. so I'm rethinking them.
I love them. So please start them again.
He promised he was going to come up with something on mindfulness.
Yes.
Revised protocol.
Yes, I've got a revised protocol on mindfulness, pure mindfulness, and that makes it much simpler. So
maybe I should give you exercises to
let's
start delivering on time.
Oh. Okay, see you guys. We're going to start it again.
Thank you so much. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.